Hello and welcome back to Minstrels on the Block with special guest Sarah J. from Ophir Drive. So Sarah,
Yes.
Tell me about your music as it is today.
As it is today, I don't play solo acoustic anymore. I have a really awesome band of talented musicians who happen to all be guys, contrary to my earlier statement. And so we've been playing together. John and I have been playing together for 2 years, and John Phillips has been playing with us for about a year, filling in. Now he's our permanent drummer, and Austin Davis has been playing bass with us as a fill-in for a few months, and then in November we took him on full-time. So our style of music, John and I started out as an acoustic duo, and then from there we evolved into like a pop rock band, and then we went into a hard rock borderline metal band, and now we're kind of transitioning out of that into like a soulful, funky rock. So I'm interested to see where these guys take us.
And this is going to be good, too, because I have seen and played with all of these people, and they're all excellent musicians.
Thank you.
So, going back a little bit, how did you learn on the guitar? Are you self-taught?
I am self-taught. When I bought my first guitar, I bought a little chord book with it, and I just kind of sat in my room and I made a lot of stuff up. I had formal vocal training, but I hadn't had a lot of music theory training, so I didn't really know a lot about like which notes go together, and so I would just make up shapes and then like sit there and count frets and write down the notes and be like, okay, this is this chord, and it would sound really pretty, and I would put them all together. I mean, granted, most of them were offshoots of like G, C, and D chords because I couldn't play anything else. But that's kind of how I started. I started on acoustic guitar, and I bought an acoustic guitar or an electric guitar in college, but I was pretty awful at it until a couple of years ago when John and I started working heavily on the electric. So, yeah.
So, we were just looking at a video of you and John performing at the Loft.
Yep.
And it was actually very good. I mean, it was cool. You said it was when you first started playing together.
Yes.
And obviously we have videos of you, more recently too, which are also awesome. Tell me about, it's taken you 2 years to get to having I guess what some people would call a synergy. A connection, a glue. So you play a lot of gigs. So tell me about some of your experiences with gigging, booking, and nightclub experiences, stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. John and I started, 2 years ago, and it was just us, and so we did a lot of more of like the open mic and coffee house kind of thing. And when we got the whole band in, obviously we couldn't really do that anymore. Right. So it was a little bit challenging here because the Columbus scene, obviously from being in New York, there are clubs everywhere. You know which clubs focus on what type of music, and it was really hard to get into those clubs. But once you were in, if you did a good job, like you were in. Yeah. Like before I left New York, I used to have a monthly gig at CBGB's before they closed, and that was really, really cool. But it took me a long time to get in there. But once I did, they were like, "You're awesome, you can come back," and that was cool. But I knew where to look. Here in Columbus, not being from here, and again working with that trying to find our sound with the band was kind of challenging. And John and I, neither of us are from here, so we kind of had to do a lot of research and do a lot of digging and network a lot to find out where we could play rock music, not get thrown out or not have the audience walk away because they wanted something different. Yeah. So that's kind of taken a while, and we've had opportunities to play a lot of really cool places around the Southeast since we started gigging down here, which is really cool. And I think that's partly because John and I are not from here, so we had connections in other cities, so we've been able to travel a lot, which is cool. But nightclubs are down here are a little different than in New York. New York, there are always bands and people are always going out. Down here, you actually have to drive to the venue and stuff like that. And so, the economy has actually also gone down since I moved here. So the entertainment industry and people going out has changed quite a bit over the last 4 years. And so, we've sort of had to adapt to that. We try to play where there's going to be people, and, our job is to get people in the door and make them drink. Our job is not to be the most fantastic musicians. And that's something that's kind of taken us a while to fully accept and really, go for, because in the beginning, John and I wanted to be, the best rock band that there was, but we also have to be really awesome marketers and alcohol salespeople. So
yes,
yeah.
Now you talked about in our talk last night. You talked about that you do your own booking.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. That you went to college.
Yes, I did. I have a bachelor's degree in music management, which is supposed to set you up to get ready to work for a label. But as everybody knows, the labels are really changing a lot these days. And I kind of don't really want to work for a label anyway. I would like to be signed to one, but a lot of the labels, there's a lot of corporate stuff in there that I'd rather be playing, But I do really need to keep that business mindset when it comes to booking our gigs. There is a downfall. There are a lot of really, really good musicians out there who don't have the business mindset and have trouble getting gigs, marketing themselves, really, getting in touch with those they need to. And I think John and I are both lucky in that we both have, business degrees, and this is kind of, a territory we're familiar with.
Yeah.
So it's very easy for us to go into that business mindset and, not only play the music well, but play ourselves well, really connect to who we need to, talk enough but not too much, to get ourselves in the door. Right. And that's been a learning experience too. We're both much more comfortable on stage playing our instruments than we are cold calling a venue and trying to get ourselves in there. So but it's we've definitely learned by experience and by education how to kind of get our gigs. So,
wow.
Yeah.
The business end is never as fun as playing on stage. There's certainly a passion and a high. I was playing just last night with Stan Edwards and
nice.
Justin and John, and I have dealt with business issues before, and the playing is much more fun.
It is absolutely more fun, more entertaining, and you're doing what you love,
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And speaking of playing over business, we will now go to another one of Sarah's songs, and we'll be right back.
Once again, I'm Sarah J. with Ophir Drive. This is called Consequences, and this is also available on iTunes and the album that we put out. But it sounds a lot better with everybody else playing with me, but you just have me for today. Chips are on the table. I think I'm gonna fall. Don't know that I'm able. Are we really that old? Baby, it's been fun. Accepted, but the damage is done. Don't lost the battle, but your war isn't won.